Something unusual is unfolding in the southern Caribbean. In just 2 weeks, the US military has carried out not one, but 2 kinetic strikes against fast-moving vessels at sea. The phrase sounds technical, and it is. In a moment, we'll break down exactly what a kinetic strike means, how such operations are carried out, and why naval forces are suddenly more visible in the region. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll understand not just the headlines, but the mechanics behind them. When the military talks about a kinetic strike, they're using shorthand. Kinetic means physical, the opposite of cyber operations, electronic jamming, or information warfare. A kinetic strike is the military saying, we used direct force, a missile, a bomb, or a round fired from a ship. The reason they use that phrase instead of just saying attack is deliberate. It signals a level of precision and control. It also separates this kind of action from broader combat operations. For example, when a drone releases a guided missile against a single moving target, that's a kinetic strike. When a destroyer fires a surface-to-surface weapon, that too is kinetic. The term even carries a psychological edge. It tells the world, this was not just a patrol, not just surveillance, but active force applied in a controlled, targeted way. And that's why it's grabbing attention. The word kinetic implies accuracy, but it also carries weight, because every time it's used, people know something has been destroyed. So what did the US actually use in the Caribbean? We don't have confirmed details, but based on what's deployed in the area, we can make educated guesses. First, drones. The MQ-9 Reaper is a workhorse of US operations. It can fly for over 20 hours, patrol vast areas of ocean, and carry precision weapons under its wings. If you're tracking a small vessel hundreds of miles from shore, the Reaper is ideal. It hovers silently at altitude, records every movement, and when the order comes, it can release a Hellfire missile in seconds. Second, fighters. F-35 stealth jets have recently been stationed in Puerto Rico. They're not just for dogfights. Their sensors are some of the most advanced in the world. They can scan huge swaths of sea, identify anomalies, and, if authorized, deliver precision munitions that can disable a vessel without collateral damage. Their presence alone raises the stakes. And then, the ships. The US Navy has cruisers, destroyers, and amphibious vessels in the region. Each of these platforms carries surveillance radars, helicopters, and weapons that can be used to neutralize maritime targets. A destroyer, for instance, can launch smaller guided weapons, while an amphibious assault ship may serve as the command hub coordinating drones and aircraft. So the recipe is this: drones to find, fighters to confirm, ships to support. Which one pressed the trigger may remain classified, but these are the tools available in the toolbox. Let's talk about the tools themselves. The most likely candidate is the AGM-1-14 Hellfire missile. For decades, it's been the go-to weapon for precision strikes. Small, accurate, and devastating against fast-moving targets. But the family of Hellfires isn't just one design. It has multiple versions, and here's where it gets interesting. One version is the standard explosive warhead. This is what most people picture, a small missile that detonates on impact. But then there's the more specialized R9X, sometimes called the kinetic variant. Instead of a big explosion, it deploys blades and relies on raw impact energy. Why? Because it reduces the risk of collateral damage. It's designed to strike precisely what it's aimed at, and nothing else. Imagine the challenge. A small boat moving quickly, perhaps trying to evade, perhaps carrying unknown materials. Commanders want to eliminate the risk without creating a huge blast. A kinetic-style missile offers that possibility. It's also worth mentioning that the US arsenal has other precision weapons suited for this kind of job. Small diameter bombs that can be dropped from jets, naval-launched interceptors adapted for surface targets, and even laser-guided munitions. Each has different trade-offs: cost, range, and precision. Which one was used here? Officials haven't said. But when experts look at the footage and the aftermath, fire, rapid destruction, total disablement, the Hellfire family is the most likely suspect. And the R9X variant, that's what keeps analysts debating. Finding a small vessel in open water isn't simple. The US layers multiple tools: coastal radar, shipborne radar, satellite imaging, long-endurance drones, and sometimes signals intelligence. When a vessel is behaving in ways that raise suspicion, course, speed, transponder switched off, analysts classify it and push the information up the chain of command. If it's cleared for action, a strike can be authorized. The combination of surveillance and rapid response platforms makes these operations possible. Beyond the strikes themselves, what really stands out is the footprint. F-35 jets deployed to Puerto Rico. MQ-9 Reapers spotted on the island. Amphibious and surface ships moved into the region, with reports of cruisers and destroyers transiting strategic waterways like the Panama Canal. For long-time observers, this is far more presence than usual, signaling that Washington wants visible deterrence as well as strike capability. For those who remember when maritime interdiction was almost exclusively a law enforcement matter, the use of frontline military assets marks a shift. Labeling certain networks as national security threats opens the door to fighter jets and precision missiles instead of patrol boats and Coast Guard cutters. That raises questions. What's the threshold for using this kind of force? How will nearby nations react to military operations in international waters? And could this escalation risk unintended confrontations? Despite the headlines, gaps remain. Officials have not released detailed evidence about the vessel's cargo. Independent confirmation of the weapons used is limited. Legal experts are still debating the framework that authorizes such actions outside a declared war zone. These are the uncertainties that will keep the story alive in the weeks ahead. In the coming days, keep an eye out for Pentagon briefings, congressional reactions, and any diplomatic moves from regional governments. More technical details may surface about which platforms fired, which ships moved where, and how surveillance assets were coordinated. For now, the key takeaway is this: the phrase kinetic strike isn't just jargon. It's a signal that the US military is applying direct force in a part of the world that hasn't seen it at this intensity in years. And that's why this story matters. Thanks for watching this video. I'll keep bringing you clear breakdowns of complex events. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and stay tuned for the next deep dive.